What is up, guys? This is Bradley Abbott with Butter Spice and Why Don't You Have a Slice? Today I'm going to wrap this Macro Conundrum up. This is part 4. This is the final in this episode in the series. And I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this topic up by saying a few points and then stating the facts and the scientific evidence to back it up. Okay? You've all heard me talk about this over the past few weeks. Basically, guys, I'm going to start by saying a few points just to wrap this up. So, point number 1, as Dr. Gabrielle Lyon states, and Professor Donald Lehman states, amongst other physicians and other professionals out there, every time you consume 100 grams of protein, your body generates, i.e. makes, 60 grams of carbohydrate through a process called gluconeogenesis. I'll say that again. For every 100 grams of protein that you consume throughout a day, your body generates 60 grams of carbohydrate through a process called gluconeogenesis. That's point number 1. Point number 2, you can only consume 30 carbohydrates per meal, 30 grams of carbohydrates per meal before your body starts to store it as fat. I repeat that. You can only consume up to 30 grams of carbohydrates per meal before your body starts storing it as fat. Okay? Point number 3. Alright. Muscle is one of the organs of longevity. The higher the protein and the lower the carbohydrates, the more likely you are to live longer. Now, I didn't say, I said the more likely you are to live longer. There are other stuff involved in a healthy lifestyle other than just protein and muscle. Let's be real here. However, due to the research done by Dr. Donald Lehman, Professor Donald Lehman, by Dr. Gabrielle Lyon through muscle-centric medicine, and the research done by Dr. David Perlmutter, who's based in the US. He is the author and the doctor that wrote Grain Brain and updated it back in 2018, 2019. Muscle is one of the organs of longevity, and you need 30 grams of leucine per meal for muscle turnover. 30 grams of leucine. The most rich sources of leucine are mainly found in red meat. Some are found in turkey and pork. Chicken is a bit iffy. But look it up. 30 grams of leucine is needed for muscle turnover per meal. Especially if you build muscle or even just for longevity, because you need protein. Your body uses protein for many things just to maintain daily living. Remember when we went back to the old couple and the athletic runner? They both use at least 250 grams of protein a day each, just for everyday living, as well as muscle turnover. Therefore, it is vital, it is important to consume 30 grams of leucine a day for muscle turnover and for maintaining body function. Point number 4, as well as endorphins that rush you feel in the gym, your muscles will secrete something called BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factor. It stimulates the brain, it keeps it active, it keeps it alert. BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factor. Vitally important, guys. Look that up. Now, during this macro conundrum, the more carbohydrates you consume, I will say that everyone is individually different. Some people can tolerate more carbohydrates, but just remember your physiology. If you consume more than 30 grams of carbohydrate per meal, you will store it as fat, period. Some people can tolerate the higher end of 30 grams per meal. Some people can tolerate lower. It goes into individualism here. But just test it out. Now, all the research points to this. Dr. Donald Lehman, Dr. Joel Wallach, Dr. David Perlmutter, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. They all talk about this. All talk about it in their own way. And also Professor Tim Noakes talks about this too. British professor. All talk about this in particular. All of the research points to a higher protein and lower carbohydrate. However, everyone goes about it in very different ways. Like I said, some people prefer the higher end of the carbohydrate limit because, like I said, one of the dear friends of mine who I interviewed, she feels better with the higher end of carbohydrate per meal, the higher end of those 30 grams. So just make sure that you do it for you and no one else. Test it out for you, no one else. Okay, guys? Point number 6. Fat is higher energy, and fat does not mean fat. Let me say that again. Consuming fat does not make you fat. Now, if you're going to consume a lot of carbohydrates and you're going to consume a lot of bad fat, and what I mean by that is fat that have been fried in oil and just a lot of like fast fried foods that are fatty, yes, that is going to make you fatter in the long term, and it is going to bring a lot of health problems along the way. Mainly things like cancer. Mainly things that cause inflammation in your bones and your joints and your organs. Doesn't have to be cancer. It can be anything. It can be diabetes. It can be higher blood sugar. It can be internal organal problems, inflammation in the gut, inflammation in your intestines, inflammation in your joints, in your bones, inflammation in the brain. So just be careful where you go with this. Okay? That's all I'm going to say, guys. Just be careful where you go with this. I will recommend one book before we wrap this up, and that is the revised version of The Grain Brain by Dr. David Perlmutter. It came out in 2018 or 2019. Dr. David Perlmutter's revised Grain Brain. Pick it up. It's a fantastic book, and it will show you that way if you are interested in going more protein and more fat, but with vegetables and just an overall healthier lifestyle. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Remember, cater your diet. These are just the guidelines that I would personally put out there and recommend. But again, everyone is individually different. So cater your lifestyle choices to you. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Bradley. I'm signing off with Butter Spice and Why Don't You Have a Slice? Peace out.